Hello. Hello. Oh god, is anybody even? Boop. Oh god, is anybody even? Boop. Oh god, is anybody even? Wait, why? Wait, why? Okay. 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 Good. Good. Okay. Okay. Do not feel comfortable for this. Do not feel comfortable for this. Do not feel comfortable for this. For this. Does it literally actually? Does it literally actually? Does it literally actually? Okay, I'm really scared about this because I just. Okay, I'm really scared about this. I could hear playback and playback and playback, and I could hear like it's repeating and repeating a lot. So I don't know, but this is what I'm curious about. What is this Technate? Is this like real? Or is it just Star Wars? Because that looks. I was like Star Wars, but talking about a feature.
Technic, a proposed technocratic American superstate in today's video.
So for real, he's talking about real
North
stuff.
American technocratic state called the Technit was most prominent as an idea and can be distinguished from all other forms of economic or social order.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy. Honestly, I'd rather talk about opinion. So I want to find controversial one. But here, let's just watch this real quick. I'll watch that later.
Look at this fucking thing.
Long time.
Hey, bro. Oh,
Fucking gun. All right. That is probably. Oh, here. There's probably stuff on here. Democracy, but people are retarded. I mean, we could watch that, but let's and we can see the comments. Actually, it's probably.
Because democracy basically means government by the people,
Yeah.
of the people, for the people.
Mhm.
But the people
All
are
right. I mean, that's true. Fuckers cringe. Read some Aristotle. Okay. Anyway, this was the ultimate argument against democracy. Yes. Is that actually? Yeah. Hmm. Whoa. Whoa. See. Yeah, probably. Wait. Man of simple taste, I'm quite easily satisfied with the best of everything. Manager to the manager of the Plaza Hotel in New York City on Churchill's 1929-1931 visit. 31 visit. I'm private secretary. Winston is easily satisfied with the best. Shaw. Hmm. I like pigs. Dogs look up to us. Cats look down on us. Pigs treat us like equals. I'm confused. I guess. But, good to know. Blaza, blaza, blaza. Yeah, I didn't expect too much. So, you want me to tell you what I'm going to search up? It is going to be... thinking. Oh, look. That. And then we're going to watch this thing. Okay. Asians visit most racist city. Okay. Yeah, see, I already watched this. See that? And we'll see this. And I already watched this. I actually really like this video. The thing is obviously blah blah racism studies. The thing I don't like about people is their opinions, you know. Not that that's not what I mean. I mean that if you have an opinion, you got to realize it's an opinion. There's not facts. That's what people see. If I have an opinion that you don't like, does not mean it's actually going to come true. It goes the other way around. I really hate that shit. It's just so annoying. Someone can't have a different opinion than you, or you know, it's fucking crazy. Oh, yeah, talk about. Oh, that's only 5 days ago. At the end of the day, they said at the end of the video, they said they were gonna actually show it, you know. So basically, anyway, about the opinion thing, it's just like, you know, for instance, like controversial opinion does not mean it's actually going to be facts. And the thing is, you know, at the end of the day, too, when we live in a democracy, even though stuff I don't like either gets put into law, it happens. And guess what? People have to deal with that. You know, I mean, that's just the way it works. Majority. Like, for instance, one thing I definitely did not like was the 9/11 thing where people comparing it to when people were saying that 9/11 was not the biggest thing anymore because of Trump supporters taking over the Capitol, which is fucked up. And wow, I did not realize how old this video was. And Blasphemous HD, wow, crazy. Someday. The opening titles just point out the credit who deserves it. Let's see.
Tell me these stories about how they flirted their way out of speed.
Yeah, right there. Oh, word. Cool if you watch this, Maurice. So is your spelling in 2019? I agree. We're making a thing. It's not his. Okay. Maybe not as much controversy because people didn't care as much. But for instance, I know people get very offended with the Canadian and for instance, I saw someone complain about Canadians and Americans and just basically argue back and forth, which is for no reason because we all are the same people. So doesn't make any sense.
Sensitivity surrounding current advised.
That was very, very weird. I thought I heard a vibration. Wow, I can't find anything controversial right now, huh? When I just want to relax and chill, I find controversial stuff. But hold on, you guys will stare at this for a second while I sort this out. Yeah, I literally just made that just for that reason. I just thought, you know, why not? Oh. Ah, perfect. Okay.
I'll give you $1 if you.
Yeah, I found 2. So, I actually really like this video. You see, I made a comment because very easy.
Continents.
Asia, Australia, Europe, Africa, South America, North America, and Antarctica. And I just hate the whole concept of continents anyway because of the fact that, I mean, I guess it's just separate, it's just a geographical term, but it's kind of annoying, especially with North America and South America, because they were technically connected until, until we decided to separate them. And, but let's see, they should be, oh, if you want, just so, watch a second.
What century are we in?
21st, 1 hour. That's the continents again. You name something else. Obviously, Obama's his last name. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at spelling, so we're not going there. I'm kidding. But these people could vote. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I was in the Confederacy in the. I want to call it the United States. I don't know. Let's see. I was homeschooled. That was 30 years ago. That public funded education got the same results. Almost every public funded program. I mean, yeah. Those questions for even elementary school kids we should be able to answer. Yeah. Oh yeah, I live in New York, so that's why I was saying I could really wish I was there. Yeah, probably. And see this shit? Okay, no, actually, fine. Yep, and it's recently why Trump was elected president. Our education needs an overhaul. However, I doubt that either party should fix our education. Well, thank you for admitting that. I don't know why you decided to make it more political and make it seem like you're leaning one side, but maybe you don't like any of them either. And hey, maybe because you're part of Antifa. Those means people are also blamed for not giving a shit if to remember any of it. Well, obviously, everyone definitely had to get this education. Like, I mean, it's fucking basic. And there we go. Gets more into the political side, considering who appointed to that task. What you can't say to be true, Betsy DeVos was a terrible Secretary of Education, especially because she didn't give a flip about public schools in this country. And they'll tell me we'll pay for all that. We will all pay for that lax in the long run. No. Trust me. People make money off idiots. That's literally how the world works. Also, I thought he was about to say tax right there. I believe that taxes, it doesn't matter. You know, you pay people to do stuff, pay government employees to do stuff, and guess what? Their money goes right back into the system. Easy, and not to feel the point where you'd only need a 60 to pass. Listen, I'm not going to lie. Okay, well, I did not get a 4-point GPA. But I just did not give a fucking school. Cutting all the time. And I just thought, honestly, it was to be cool. But I'll tell you this right now. Everyone else does it. And that's why there's so many idiots in the world that just do whatever the fuck they want. So, honestly, it is better to be the smart person and do it. But I had fun while I did it. I don't regret it because I also still paid attention whenever I wasn't actually in class. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a YouTube education. No, honestly, that's what I was honestly doing instead. I'm also a Star Wars fan, and Rogue One trailer came out. I asked to go to the bathroom and went home and watched the trailer. Yeah, that is true, but it has always been like that. I don't like that though, because it's always been that way. Sends the video on your page. See. This is the car. Oh wait, whoops. This is what you do: stalk other people's videos and downvote them when they annihilate your argument into oblivion. No, I just not support other people putting all their lives in danger by filming while driving. By the way, you didn't have a real fucking argument. Love. Can't fix stupid, sadly. True, I guess. I'm not gonna be one to say that because I will be honest here and say I do that because also I have a video like that because I don't know. To me, look, I learned something while driving, right? Is that you don't pay attention for a millisecond, you're fucked, right? But you also should not be, like, for instance, right? Let's say if I look away for a second, I should not be having my foot in the gas, and I should be hovering over the brake. And most of the time, you got to pay attention to what's happening before it actually, like, you know, what's actually happening in front of you, and always be alert. Like, I am always alert, and I try not to ever, like, look away like that, like, not pay attention. But I do go on my phone, and I do record when I drive sometimes, because honestly, I'm still paying attention. I really don't care how good the video comes out, you know? I'm just holding it there, boom. And driving stick is a little bit harder like that, but works. Wonder why they could tie their shoes. Oh. I should have said father. Listen, bro. Oh, God. Yeah, accuracy was not a prophecy. Listen, this... People just act like people in Stone Age were smarter. It's always been this way. There's always just a few smart people that we always read. This is what people understand. When you read history, they are selecting stories for you to listen to. And it's because it's stories that actually impact the world. They're not going to the everyday Joe person. Because these people don't change the way the world works. And the way it's going to go. So, the only people you get to hear about are people that are actually significant and actually have a brain cell, you know? They're not the average people. They're more than average. And in fact, you know, the funny thing is a lot of people love to argue the fact that they are. That some people aren't. Like, you know, they love to just nitpick and look back in history and look how, like, oh, look how dumb this person was. Who was probably the smartest person around at that time. Like, you know, especially when you watch, like, strategies and stuff, people forget that there is context to that, you know? Like, it's not just, oh, let me go ahead and just get all my men killed and whatever. Honestly, I'm not very good at talking sometimes, but, like, I have all these thoughts going around in my head that don't flow too well. Also, I should be doing my homework right now, but I don't really feel like doing that, because, I don't know. Very fucked up. It's too much work for me. But yeah. Otherwise, I was gonna play Hoi 4 with my friend, but he doesn't want to play. But let's see.
This is Fleckus. This week we're at the March for Our Lives, downtown LA. What's your sign say?
It says the NRA is a terrorist organization.
Very cool. And do you think ISIS is a terrorist organization?
I do, yeah.
Think Al Qaeda?
I do,
Hamas?
yeah.
Responsible.
All in the same category to you?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm Austin. Oh, cool. What's your name?
Well, I go by Doppel Bowie.
Basically, everyone here, it could all be boiled down to they don't want guns.
Would you be down for
Yeah.
illegal?
Yes.
We don't need guns.
You lean more
Let me see that sound.
They don't want guns.
would you be down for guns are illegal?
Yes.
We don't.
Fuck you, Trump. Never again. I don't know what 17 stands for. No. Plus R15. I'll be honest, I don't know what that is. And whatever. Why are you wearing a clown uniform? Are you being satirical? I don't understand.
You lean more towards the all guns?
I'm on the all guns thing. If you look at
Uh-huh.
a weapon of war, if
Okay,
you
all
can
guns.
have an
Ban.
AR-15 Why couldn't you have a nuclear weapon?
What? Why the fuck? Now we're marching.
Today he said we used to march for our rights, and now we have people who are marching to take their own rights away and to take rights away from everyone. It's very odd.
I don't think they know the difference between a semi-automatic and an automatic. If they did, they know that automatic guns have been banned for a long time, and semi-automatic, that's pretty much every gun now. So
Wait.
if you want a ban on semi-automatic guns,
Make America great again?
You do not need an automatic rifle to be killing game.
Well, automatic rifles are illegal.
Semi-automatic rifle, excuse me.
Okay, yeah. Semi-automatic, obviously there is a difference. One trigger pull.
The whole gun debate.
Presidential college.
I believe we need guns, and I don't. Again, like my opinion. See, like that's their opinion too. It's not actually fact, and it's not the way the world works. So, an atheist today, and when I sneezed, I said, "God bless you," and then I said, "Thank you," because it's polite. Same people do. Yep. Yeah, that's a microaggression. No, that's just asking where you're from. I ask all sorts of people where they're from. Yeah, because a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are not educated, and they love just to say everyone's from China. Chinese. Just saw that argument in the other video I watched before. Because there is a lot of Asian countries, and I'm going to be honest with you right now. I will say this like this, and I don't think it is racist. I guess it is racist. I don't really care, but look, I can't tell the difference between a lot of people from European countries, okay? There's obviously a difference, right, from the Nordic people on the top who are tall or stereotypical, actually. In fact, how about this? You can't actually tell people apart, especially nowadays when people are more mixed with other stuff, because every gene you look back at comes back and is mixed. And it's not just Europeans, Africans, or Asians, or the Native Americans that lived in America beforehand. They all become mixed, because Native Americans are mixed. They come from Asia originally. And they just look a little bit darker, because I believe because they were exposed to more sunlight. And everyone comes from Africa anyway, so how do you think that all works out anyway? So, whatever. So, everyone has a mix of genes. There's no one, if you take an actual DNA test, no one's 100% from one place. Besides the fact that countries are just political borders anyway and don't actually exist. The only things that actually do exist are natural borders, and that's what isolates people and ends up over the years changing the way people look because they're adapting to their setting. And yeah, so anyway, I really can't tell Europeans apart from what country they are. I can't really tell what country Africans are from, and I can't really tell what country Asians are from, besides the more obvious difference from the Middle Eastern countries, from the Indian countries. And honestly, I can only tell that from their religion, because Indians are not, they don't wear turbans. So, no, wait, actually, no, they do. I'm actually a fucking idiot. I actually had an Indian friend back when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade. And he wore one until he felt like he was out of place or something like that. I don't remember. It was basically he felt like he didn't want to wear it anymore in America. So it's kind of fucked. I was upset for him for that, but yeah, he stopped. Or no, he never wore one yet. He was growing his hair out for it, and he cut it. But yeah. Obviously, I'll be honest with you, like for Asia, for instance, I could tell the difference from Middle Eastern countries, and then kind of India, whatever, and India from the more East Asian countries like China, Japan, and Korea, and the Koreas, Vietnam. And those are countries that get mixed together because those are a little bit more confusing for me generally, okay? And I'll be honest with that. And then Indonesia is a little bit more separate from them, to be honest with you, for that. I could tell that better. I could tell that difference. And obviously Australians are white colonists, so that's obviously that giveaway, but they're also considered their own continent. So, yeah. Africans above the Sahara, most of them are a little bit more light skinned because they're like Egyptian and whatever. They're still pretty dark because most Egyptians they were whatever, I think Nibians, but you know, that kind of switched around. They more look more Middle Eastern than straight African. And then again, you have the differences with the Europeans, like I said. Like, all again, these are all more stereotypical anyway. I don't think it matters anyway. So, is this copy and paste? Okay. Nazis want to silence people too. They claimed anyone speaking out against them was evil. If we don't teach history, we are doomed to repeat it. I said, I actually love history a lot.
So-called microaggressions perpetrated against them on campus. Microaggressions are statements that intentionally or unintentionally...
Funny, the news came out about North Korea as train-launched missiles to nuclear arsenal. I believe it's because I saw earlier they were upset about South Korea doing some missile tests.
Send a negative message related to someone's membership.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big thing on campus. If we see large-scale violence, we can name that as a macroaggression. But the way that we devalue that violence, the way that we silence that violence, that's a microaggression.
I'm asking an Asian American where we were born.
Yes.
Very, very contextual, you know?
That's not a microaggression. That's just us.
See? Oh! Someone who's actually from Asia. The Asian continent.
Asking where they were born.
Telling a black student that
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be stereotypical here, but yeah, I feel like, honestly, some people have been guilt tripped. A lot of white people have been guilt tripped to deciding to be very, very careful with what they say and think that a lot of more stuff is racist than it really is and are microaggressions. Living in New York, I feel, I've been exposed to a lot of people from a lot of different countries, like just from straight up from elementary school, like people from Guyana, Kenya, Nigeria, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Mexico, Cuba. Puerto Rican is part of America, but some people like to consider it a country because blah, blah, blah. I mean, every state honestly is considered its own country in its own aspect, but under one flag. I met people from Poland, India, like I said, Pakistan, Israel, Egypt, Russia, Italy. I even met some people from Spain. Honestly, the least I've seen was from England or France or United Kingdom, whatever else you want to say. I mean, I met some Irish people too, some Germans. Honestly, it's just, I think people try too hard to like go back for their ancestors or whatever, and I honestly don't feel that way anyway. I am mixed, Colombian and Italian, so, but whatever.
He or she is
That's just what I feel personally.
very articulate.
And I know I'm being stereotypical.
That is, yeah. Yes.
I'm
Wait.
not saying all lives matter.
I think because the history behind Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
I believe the most qualified person should get the job.
Qualifications aren't really the only thing you should consider when hiring someone.
But if you're saying that the most
What does that mean then? I mean, I look. I actually just applied for USPS, right? I actually am not a big fan of their assessment, but you just gotta understand how stuff works. I did not like the way the assessment test went. Not at all. I just felt like it wasn't an accurate test of how the job would be, So, I mean, I still got to see what's going to happen with that, but I just, that's the way the world works, and it's not based off race. And it shouldn't be based off race.
A qualified person is someone who is not a minority, you're not of a religion you believe in, then yes, that'd be a microaggression.
Saying,
But no one said that,
God
though.
bless you after somebody sneezes.
Oh, that would be a microaggression because of different religions.
Yeah.
See? Like, look at the reasoning behind that. They think way too far into it.
Microaggression to someone who doesn't believe in God.
I think that the harm there is relatively minimal.
Because I don't. That is something that I just don't understand, because I just don't. Instead of actually being offended by people or stuff like that, I actually like to not really care because I like I said, I know people's opinions are people's opinions, and I'd rather also not go around hurting people, like put on like saying, oh yeah, God ain't real, or I'm just going around offending people. I think people should be free to believe what they believe in.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California to find out if voter ID laws suppress the black vote.
Usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority
Huh? Why would they be less likely?
voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in.
Wait, why black people though? If anything, I'll be honest with you, it's more Hispanic people that like percentage-wise, it's more Hispanic people that don't have the appropriate cards for voting, if anything. Because I know that because I literally work in like these kind of jobs sometimes, a lot of times where a lot of Hispanic people don't have the right IDs, but a lot of more black people do have it, you know?
Areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone as legal citizens should be able to get an ID.
You have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or like they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of like black voting with.
I guess not really too educated about that topic, and I don't really want to get into that anymore.
Tiff. I only got 2 so far, but one of them was a deluxe set.
Okay, that's great.
Is this that fucking con thing, man? I hate those fucking people that go around sell. I don't hate those people because like I don't like that those kind of companies that are their pyramid schemes where they just basically make you sell everything to your family, like and friends.
I'm in 5 so far, but more to come.
Yeah, that's my boy. I like that confidence. And Deshaun, where you at? Look at you there, Deshaun. No worries. Tiffany, I'll have to. Exactly. Yeah.
Feeling about this one. I just feel like you're ready to make a sale, and I don't want to get in the way of that.
You want to throw in another referral?
Remember we talked about Deshaun. Positive mental attitude.
Let's see.
Deshaun. Maybe try going by just Sean.
What the fuck?
Sound more familiar.
I think too. I like to play the other side. Definitely like it anyway. I don't understand why people pay so much attention to that stuff. Like when I meet people, talk to people, I don't, actually care too much about. Obviously, you could tell, you could make assumptions based off how the way people are dressed and they present themselves, but I don't actually really care. Because I'd rather just see how that person is when they talk to me and how they are to me. I like to treat people the way they treat me. And anybody you can talk to will know that. Did you know? Yeah, I'm an idiot, but for that. Now look at this. We got all these controversial ones now, huh? I know these are skits. Is that him right there? Who's that?
Hi, my name's Sean. Marshall. Good to meet you.
First of all, these aren't even easy to do anyway, these scam selling things, whatever.
Good weather we're having today, huh? No doubt.
Is there something I can do for you, Sean?
Yeah. Sorry. I work for the Patriot Knife Company, and we specialize in high-grade American-made cutlery. And I was just wondering if you had some time. I'd love to give you a demonstration so I could show you.
Then he opens it.
Come on in.
And he sees a Confederate flag.
Downstairs.
Okay. You see, when I was a delivery person at Alberto's, I hated doing that. I hated walking to people's houses. A lot of stories about that. It's very uncomfortable. Not like that. It's just, you know, I just not like a very person likes to trust like that. You know, I could be murdered in your fucking house. Not, obviously it didn't happen, but you know, never know. Some crazy shit I've seen though in some people's houses. Not a Confederate flag. I mean, that's not even crazy anyway, but. Glass from the window. Someone shattered his window. What is this supposed to mean? Cell phone? Or is this actually how these things are supposed to go? Thought you would have done it on the porch. It. I'm sorry, I just don't know. I don't want to. I feel like I'm not adding too much constructive criticism to this stuff, so I am afraid of, you know, proper.
You heading out already?
No, I was just taking a look around.
Feels like a fucking horror movie now. He's the guy with the way the guy was about to walk out.
Demonstration, show me. So what have you got for me, Sean?
I'm actually very curious how this is about to go. Yo! What? What's he about to find out? Gonna find out his window's broken because people found out he had a Confederate flag or something.
Everything is manufactured right here in America. And this set in particular comes with our top-of-the-line blades. This right here is our paring knife, which works really well. And we also have our carving knife, which works pretty well too. And it also comes with sharpening steel, which is great because whenever your knives go dull, you know, you can...
Something wrong.
Sorry?
You keep staring over at the
Dun, 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 dun.
flag on the wall. Is there a problem? I mean, it's okay if there is. I'm just asking.
No, sorry. I just
Brought it inside yesterday because of the rain. Some people just leave them out there. You know, it's so lazy. Doesn't offend you, does it? A lot of people misunderstand it. My great-great-grandfather fought and died in that war. He was a good man. I thought this was the least I could do to honor him.
And that's the thing about the Civil War too. It's like people always forget this, that there's always the stuff that you don't like on each side. There's always rich people controlling each side. Like, I like to put it like this way: there's two different kingdoms at war, right? Like, you go back to medieval age, and they have their own people that they take care of, and they have their own, and the other kingdom has their own. So that's who gets fought fighting the war for rich people that no one actually wants to fight, the poor people, and they end up starting hating each other because they killed one another or because of propaganda. Same way with that, you know, or they're basically forced to because they live there and they don't want to leave their land because they love their land. So that's why I just don't really see it. I'd love seeing all this stuff. Fuck Air Forces.
Don't you think?
Okay.
I thought this was the least I could do to honor him. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Some people feel a bit differently. Rock came through my window the other night.
Yeah, figured.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
No, dude, shut up for a second. Do you remember last week when we went out with Tommy and we were going to all those different house parties? Yeah, where was that?
You scumbag.
A lot better off if we just minded our own business.
Yep.
Good fences make good neighbors.
What, is that from a rap song?
No, it's from.
I always hate
Bible.
Europe.
Oh my god, bro. Dude. Alright, I'll see. This is.
I don't know. I think that flag carries a lot of baggage for some people.
Baggage? Or is that... So, Sean, are you a Christian, or is that cross around your neck just a fashion statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not before.
I mean, my parents raised me in the church and everything.
Okay, then. So, look. Christian to Christian. What are we supposed to do when somebody is offended by what we believe? I mean, this whole country is so goddamn worried about political correctness, right? What happens
Like this.
when they say you're not allowed to wear that anymore?
Yeah, I wish he wouldn't just go around talking about that. Like, that was a. Obviously, I know he's a character. That's what I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, like, people that do that type of stuff, I don't like. You know, just don't assume stuff and then hate it too. Most I paused. I was waiting.
Too offensive. You're not allowed to wear that anymore. That it's too offensive. People have baggage, Sean. Not things.
The comments I said down there.
You work hard, stay honest, don't bother anybody. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what color you are. If you're lazy, you're lazy. If you're a liar, you're a liar. No need to make it any more complicated than that. So you got a demo you're gonna show me?
Yeah. I need here is actually could you grab a knife of your own?
What?
Whichever one you think is the sharpest for a comparison.
Yeah.
Walking like the third
This seems like a murder.
house, and Tommy told me to throw a rock through the guy's window. I think I'm outside of it. One of the guys in train's inside of the house.
And see, you committed a crime when the guy did not commit a crime. That's what the problem is with a lot of people.
So I'm just gonna
Cool
hold
knife.
this right here.
It's a kitchen knife, isn't it?
The rope
I can't see.
with your knife.
So you live around here, Sean?
No. I live in a different neighborhood.
So then, you wouldn't happen to know who threw that rock through my window, would you?
No, like I said, I'm not from around here.
Actually, Lon.
I mean, I don't know. He might have seen me when he opened the door or something, but I don't know.
Definitely knows.
Maybe I'll just hide around the corner or something until he comes out.
Now I'm gonna do the same thing here, but use one of my knives. You pick.
So nervous. It's gonna giving me anxiety. Make me nervous for him. Like, why? Dude. No, look at that. He's good. They're good actors. They're good actors.
Damn. That is something else.
Best in the market.
Dude, I gotta get out of here. I'll just text him up or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna go. Okay.
gonna come back maybe after he finds out. I think this is my prediction. There is 2 minutes left, so this might not happen. Would have been nice. I know. I believe though, or if you got any from me, my personal opinion, that you guys are probably gonna tell him anyway, at least in the last 2 minutes about that, and he might come back. I don't know. Take some money. What are you not gonna take?
Just messing with you.
Oh, I'm confused. I wasn't paying attention.
No, thank you, Marshall. I appreciate your business.
Come by anytime, Sean. You're one of the good ones.
Okay, see, that is racist. Talking about, unless you're talking about salespeople. Whatever, it's subtle racism. Like, just don't. I'm not gonna lie. See, he said it like that, but he actually does mean that in a way. Like, I know this like kind of people. Like, he actually will help him out right now. You know, if he comes back right now, because he just left him. Don't tell me it's a text. Hmm. Wonder why he doesn't have a car. Got a flag. I thought he was about to pick up a rocket, throw it through someone's flag, grabbing the American flag up. That is gonna stay muted. What's he about to do? I'm so confused. What's he doing? He crumpled it? Why'd he crumple it? Ah. Neighborhood turned to rack was for sale. Okay. Great shit. As you know, we were the only black there. The guy had a major point in his video. He bought baggage on any objects in a mile. Or broke through it, one on the flag, and then takes off and leaves two alone unfamiliar neighborhood to fend for himself without a ride back. If the flag is fair about his business and about life, so it goes. Are you serious? What the fuck? I don't give a fuck. I could know how to get around all the whole fucking... I know how to get around a whole bunch of different places back to my house from different neighborhoods. And Are you serious? I would. Hmm. Veteran ancestor surely fought valiant honor for the honor of the German armies from 1939 to 45, whether by choice or conscription. What is the Nazi flag considered a better flag? Is what I want to know. Considered. Actually, that is interesting. Anyway, I'd rather do it like this because it is okay. Eric's, I believe, is battle flag of. Okay, let me see. It's the same thing. Okay. What is that flag? That is flag. But again, also is a little different. Like, I don't believe in the state independence movement, honestly, at all, because the fight for slavery, I don't believe it was a fight for slavery like they always say it is, you know, like, obviously, that was a last second thought, so I don't think it's real crazy to me that think that the Confederate flag was symbolized with it, but whatever. You are. Well, yeah. Yeah. Generously perpetrated by Weimar was a snowball that birthed the Reich. Yeah. Post means after. There was no post World War II Weimar. Words mean something. Who even said that? Slatzar. Don't even see it. Did read it though. Fine to be offended by it. I'm no fan of the Confederacy, lol. I'm simply pointing out that you can't assume someone hanging a flag is doing so with the intent to embody the most reprehensible aspect of that symbol. That being said, it's still incumbent on us as decent humans, to be respectful of modern interpretations of things and avoid being unnecessary offensive. I could walk around using the B word to reference female dogs, but no offensive intent, it's so offensive. Almost all modern swear words had less offensive origins, but those less offensive origins don't necessarily make those words right to you. Correct. I like that. I don't want to say correct because then people are going to be like, I'm just. That reminds me of the Italian guy who, yeah, not the exact same thing. Never mind. I was going to talk about the guy who did the marathon and ended up almost killing himself in a temple, something like that. He's running a marathon in the 80s. Looked, but I would never fly one. The Dixie flags traitors to be burnt whenever possible. That said, this is America. You should be able to fly both with no trouble if you want. Okay. Received the master race. Did he? Dated. Okay. Portrait of a man. 2 quotes. The first quote is, "People we are fighting the certificate of our cause of a superior race." Statements are attributed to William T. Thompson, who the Post identifies as the flag's designer. Let's kind of chase. Yeah, said these things. The problem with the claim is that he isn't the designer. Well, we know the Confederate flag. Outer red and white stripes. Circle stars against a blue background in the upper left corner. In 1863, national flag, the coastal stainless banner flag was a plain white field, and as it would say, already a powerful and famous Confederate symbol, the Southern Cross. Star Beckled blue satire diagonal cross that has been famous battle flag since the fall of 1861. Third flag is adopted symbol for the Confederacy fall resembles the second flag, only had a red bar on the right side. The Confederate policy of William Porch Miles. Now William T. Thompson. Miles chaired the committee on the flag and seal, and those laws that were officially adopted by the Confederacy is taken up by the Confederate Army. Not to mention the Duke of Hazards and alleged Charleston shooter Dylan Storm Roof. First has been convicted and sentenced to death in 2005 of 2015 of 9 African American churchgoers. Yeah, that burning. Also grouped in the stainless banner, that was second national flag. The Confederacy approved in 1863. Blah 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 blah. For example, described him as the flag's designer. Was said before putting that battle flag on a field of fight was his idea. Back our flag, origin and process of flag of the United States of America. Officer Henry notes that Thompson suggested a white flag with a Southern Cross or battle flag of his Union, national insignia for the Confederacy, and even ex-captain William Ross Postel to make a color drawing of his proposed flag. But Koski questions whether Thompson was really that flag's designer. A political fact in an email that he thought others had previously suggested putting the battle flag on a field of white. We asked if he could confirm. He said without substantial research, I don't think it's possible to confirm that he was a designer. At this point, he added, it is only a hypothesis. We reached out to other historians about Thompson's credit as stainless banners designer, but the two who responded pointed us back to Koski, those two experts on the flag. Editor of Savannah More News. How do people talk to this? Sources. Anyway, I think people like to see more as rebellion things. But yeah, like I'm confused about why the kid crumbled at Chucky. Dude, why do you free knives? Because his boss is a punk, I guess. I carries bags because of the flag. Why else would he assume it was the flag as the cause of the funeral instead of a drunk white kid? What I mean to say is white. Well, things don't carry baggage. Quote is very. Why has he made all made assumptions that funerals are caused by these things? Sometimes contradicts himself. There's actually some drunk white boys that had nothing to do with the flag. That flags a lot of other people represents your boots on others' necks. Simple as that. His great great grandfather. It was a civil war. Not to believe that they're not being honest. I don't believe there's any place for that flag today. It don't exist for no good whatsoever. I saw nothing good about this video myself, and I think that salesman was brave. I think he's gonna kill him. I know I saw my fear before, but okay. I'm sorry. That is kind of, I guess when I'm watching the video. But anyway, I just don't see the point of this video. I feel better about the people who fly that flag. I don't care that man's great great grandfather died as war. If he wants to honor him, he doesn't have to fly it in front of everyone's face. It's fool. Yeah. Good fences make good neighbors. Taste for rap is lovely and subtly. Tell me because I hate rapping. My son's name is Marshall. Dug deep this one. The comments reflect that I actually missed it. It was a check he destroyed at the end until one of the comments mentioned it. I recognized the house was because the flag was no longer there. True. Nope. One of the good ones. Text on that too. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, I'd like this video actually. Yeah. In the union, I said volunteer entered. Okay. This thread is a little too long, and I just want to know if anyone knows why he got rid of the check. I was talking about anybody else, I was gonna say. Okay. One, yep. I heard someone else's thoughts, complete bias, whatever. I basically just live my life and being polite when I can't try to foot all drone, which is yeah. Person, a huge Confederate flag attached to the wall, covered whole wall like a 6 foot by 8 foot flag. He had a long, heavy metal hair. A lot of other dudes looking like him, hanging out by his apartment all day. Never had an issue with them. He was a gentleman, neighbor, and treated me with everyone respect. Across each other. Different person, different type of person, and whites. A judge, she's a judge who happens to be. Huh? A guy who happens to be color, is that what you're trying to say? As he lives a life free from any sort of prejudice, you understand his comment. You're true about your representation here. I applaud your indiscriminate attitudes of expression, but don't assault anybody that shares experience or help out a similar position. Battle flag. Body answered that, but not him. Earlier. Doc Tom burst. Plenty issues related to, we differed mostly on different social economic problems. At the end, you understood that you can never change my view on certain things. I could never change his. And you guys were trying. Unlike many people in the neighborhood, we had no problem providing information for instance conducted by government. You didn't trust. No. Nope. Not going down. My own opinion.
Welcome to Rocky Mount, Virginia. A town step out of Bridget, along with our cousin Katasha and friend Malala, found white Black lives, but that
I think it's ridiculous. It really is.
It's the officers that are killing our brothers and sisters for no reason. That's why Black Lives Matter.
This is what fighting for Black lives looks like in one rural American town.
Is this Cheddar? That's like the same person who does Cheddar. The same girl.
In 2010,
justice. It lets me know that my
voice only grown louder. Protests and
we don't feel justice. I feel like I'm going to a slaughterhouse.
The protests in Rocky Mount may be small in size, but voices have only grown louder since the first protest for George Floyd.
That's protesting right now.
Comfortable racism that everybody's just kind of accepted. I see it, I hear it.
But But not all Rocky Mount residents agree with the protests.
The slavery days, that was back in the day, man, and then everybody's putting this out that we're the bad people. Well, we can't control what happened in the past.
Ah.
48.
42, United Kingdom. 69th president. Da 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 da.
What? Does Giuseppe?
I can't spell it. AAOP. Should we go down the controversial list again? I really don't understand how people do this, man. Okay, I'll see it.
What is this?
You may have heard, it's actually going to be an open discussion. Okay, so the format of this is a little bit different than what some of you may have heard. It's actually
Damn it, I can't see the anymore. We will go back to that in a second. Sorry, this is just the way I actually end up watching videos. Well, actually, I watch it more in full. But, I see that one. Damn it, I didn't see that.
Image of a teen staring down a Native American man went viral. Additional videos posted online and obtained by The Times help show what happened. On Friday, January 18th, a group participating in the Indigenous Peoples March gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington. In this footage, we see Nathan Phillips, the Native American man who was seen drumming in the clip that spread online. Here, he was standing after the march had concluded.
You are the children of Israel. That's right.
Nearby, 5 men who identify as Hebrew Israelites are preaching.
Attach the idols.
They are shouting inflammatory and derogatory comments at the Native Americans.
Worship the buffalo. A damn buffalo can't save you. Niggas are crazy. You worship the creations and not the creator.
And at others passing by.
Christian, huh? So.
Meanwhile, a group of high school students is also gathering at the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
It was their meeting spot after attending the March for Life, an annual anti-abortion rally. Then the group of self-described Hebrew Israelites start to shout at the students.
A bunch of incest babies.
What?
A bunch of babies made out of incest.
The students, many whom are wearing Make America Great Again apparel, start yelling and chanting back at them. One takes off his shirt. At this point, we see Phillips approaching the students playing a ceremonial drum. He later said he was trying to defuse the situation between both groups. He walks to the middle of the crowd.
He's gonna touch him.
Take the tomahawk chop, a gesture that's considered offensive.
Oh, why they do that? Fucked
Now
up.
here's Nicholas Sandman, the teen also caught in the viral video.
Wait, was that on purpose? I didn't know that.
In front of each other for several minutes.
How many kids were in this group anyway? Like the whole school?
There is yet another back and forth, this time with a Native American activist and the students.
So if you want to make America great, because for you white people, go back to Europe where you came from. This is not your land. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
The whole interaction between Phillips and the students lasts for about 10 minutes. By now, the crowd has dispersed.
Groups.
Sandman gestures to a friend, and moments later, he steps out.
Not the way I was expecting this to go. It's very weird.
Phillips
3 different ones.
tries to talk to the crowd.
Relative. Yes. Hey guys, let's make America great. Let's do that.
Not gonna happen. Did they say that? Definitely not the biggest genocide. I mean, it's technically genocide could be of your own people. Show. Yeah, yeah, Australia is Australia the fattest country. Australia has the second highest rate of peace spending among countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, placing them just behind the United States, according to a report released today by American Institute of Health and Welfare. Because I don't know, friends had an argument with Australians in his friend group or something. I don't know. Yeah. LSD and shrooms. Where's that with the partification? Where's the worst aspect of humanity, color with the religious ideology? Some misinformed white boys are fast and empowered by a sexist pro-life campaign. Racist alternate friend. Some Americans trying to save these people from this. Shout. I check the comment underneath. Okay, whatever. Look at views. He always comments, always at the right time somehow. Gathering. Oh, no, but and the Jews, they were kids take off the shirts and they shouted. And the drums go drum, and the crowds are okay. We make America great again. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a blot on all legislators, including men, sir.
Yes, yes.
This is not a house where men come in ताकि किसी औरत की आंखों में झांका जाए.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man.
Yo aquí vengo a defender a las mujeres europeas.
Oh, wait, I thought this was just...
Vous avez gagné peut-être ce matin la palme du misogyne beauf de cette assemblée. Vous êtes une merde.
I thought it was just India, bro. That's what we're going on with that. I don't know. I don't really care to watch it anymore.
Actually,
Oops.
An entertainment channel, not learning. And everyone in the chat would be like, "You got a license for that? You got a license to watch? You have a TV license?"
Really? What's going on here?
The whole topic of the Confederate flag, which is absolutely a hot button topic right now, right? Like, especially after the situation that happened in South Carolina, you had a lot of people who were discussing, is it heritage or hatred, right? And in this school, we have people who have viewpoints on a variety of sides. So the goal of Robbie and myself is to facilitate a community where we can have an open discussion that's civil, all right? So at this...
Mr. Muhammad, Che Guevara, hasta la revolución poster.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even feel like Hassan would be okay with me watching this. Even though he's probably not gonna ever see this, I would rather just try to see if I get some hot points in here.
Imagine flying the Reichsflagge staff in Reichsflagge in Germany and saying it's heritage. Wait,
there we go. Let's see.
That. Well, they can't do that because they'll go to jail. But now they do the older one, right? Don't they fucking fly the
battle flag?
No,
yeah.
guys. They literally fucking...
I want to turn my AC on. I was trying to not put it on, but it's way too hot. I'm sorry. I am really sorry, but I have no choice, man. That shit is too much.
I'm not talking about the Nazi...
And I unplugged my headphones, huh? Nice. I literally decided to take my headphones off, so for that not to happen, but
the Imperial flag. They fly the Imperial flag. They're such pussies, by the way. Imagine like you can't even fly your fucking the Weimar Republic Eagle.
And unfair treatment.
Eagle flag.
So what do we say?
Here, let's see. I guess that'll be controversial.
Unhinged madman pops off a few school children in the US, ardent defenders of the...
Dalio warns regulators will kill Bitcoin if it becomes too successful. Okay. I believe Ethereum is going to be more successful, in my opinion.
If we ban guns,
become annoying with that.
Cars too, because they kill more people than guns do. And the answer is hell yeah.
Okay.
Since population of Maine every single year, and the population of Pennsylvania since 2010. If we include car accident related injuries and disabilities, this brings our total up to 50 million people per year. Or the entire population of South Korea receiving whiplash one day.
Yo!
In a 10-year period, that's anywhere between 200 million and 500 million people injured, or give or take the entire US population. Not only do cars directly kill people, they indirectly kill people too. A fifth...
Yeah. all the production to even get into making cars too and everything.
All greenhouse gas emissions.
I love my car, but definitely need to see a change.
Cars and the
Something I've just been growing up with, you know.
effect on the local environment.
And unfortunately, kind of need it now.
30 UK cities are over the limit of what is considered safe air to breathe, and a further 17 are just at the limit, leading to 1 in 19 deaths being caused by pollution.
Ooh.
Barcelona, 3,500 people die each year because of bad air.
I mean, sometimes I think about how ridiculous it is that everyone can own, that everyone owns these big ass, I mean these heavy ass vehicles, you know? All this metal that everyone owns.
Car exhaust emissions certainly play a role in that. You could just say we can switch to electric or self-driving vehicles, which don't have emissions and are safer than human drivers. But
Oh, we need more transportation, honestly. If I ever become rich, I want to personally do some of that stuff.
doesn't solve any of the other problems that cars can cause in cities. For example, space. Here is a random street in LA. This is how much space the cars get, and here's how much space you get.
Yeah,
Ridiculous, right?
it is.
Now imagine there's
I never even realized how normal it was. I watched a Just Bikes video, and was actually appalled at the fact that I didn't realize that there should be more sidewalks. Why the fuck do we have more streets in places, you know? Like, there are places where I have to literally know where to walk. Annoying.
one person standing where the cars are. All of this space has been made inaccessible to you for these few people. Another example. This is Milton Keynes in the UK.
That's gross.
It was built in the 1950s for the sole purpose of accommodating cars. Here's how much space the cars get. Why are we putting up with this? 14%
Yeah.
of space in cities is taken up by car parks alone. No wonder we have a housing crisis. You could put like 2 blocks of flat on that space. Car culture has also resulted in increased class and racial segregation. In the early days of automobiles in the US, city planners would build...
Yeah, this is Long Island. These are Long Island bridges. Weird to see, huh? Yeah.
Poorer communities who were predominantly
Brooklyn.
African American, because these communities could not afford cars. Instead, they were forced to take the bus, which could not fit under
Yep.
the bridges and therefore...
Look at the city back then. Yeah, Robert Moses did all that shit. Does not go to the north side of the island either. The highways. For you, honestly, it's even better, but there's also no public transportation out there. But
out of areas with higher paying jobs and better schools. You might think this is all in the past, but the bridges are all still there. Overall, cars are dangerous, smelly, loud, take up too much space, are racist, and also are just... Let's ban them from our cities. Now, that's quite a radical proposal, so to be fair, we'll take a look at some of the objections people might have, shall we? Objection number 1. Removing cars would be too unpopular. Here's Times Square in 2008, and here it is now. Look at all those unhappy shoppers.
Yeah, I love it now.
This is Jubilee Gardens in the 1960s, and this is it today.
Ooh.
That poor woman seems to be crying as she came to see
Oh,
cars,
love it.
and all there is now is a beautiful garden instead. This is a highway in Seoul.
Please, I
They
love it.
washed it to build this horrific garden that anyone can use, which is absolutely terrible, I'm sure you'll agree. So this is what Orleans in France used to look like, and it now looks like this. This is what we in the Yimby community call a dub. So what does this show us? Everywhere cars have...
Looks, I love this. I want to go from here to here. After this, Adam something. Because I like that. I didn't realize. Like, I was gonna watch this anyway, but because I was really looking at the fact that it's because when he was showing that green light, it highlighted thing, it reminded me of that. Ooh. New Orleans graphic. DNA thing. I don't know, I have a lot of tabs open. I really don't like to do it like this, and I'm on the wrong thing. Oh, we gotta get off Black Salesman. I already watched the whole thing. Did a good amount of comments on there. I don't really feel like going back to that. We don't need to watch Swoozy's video because that's crazy. Maybe. Let's ban cars. Here it is.
No nobody has ever wanted them to come back. Believe me, I have checked. Objection number 2. If we restrict where cars can go, the places where cars can go will become crowded and full of traffic all of the time. Well, actually, the opposite is true. Studies show the more roads we build, the more people...
Because more people want to use them.
...drive and congestion actually increases.
Excuse me.
Every time San Francisco adds another lane to their
Los
highway,
Angeles,
the time along it increases by 1
Yep,
minute
I heard
per
about
hour.
this.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out if we decrease the number of roads you can drive on, the less...
Trust me now. I used to say the opposite all the time. I used to be like, yeah, let's add more lanes. I just look, how can we add more? How? Especially when I was in traffic, I used to look, I'm like, oh, let's just add another one above. You know, it's like so fucking ugly. I'm like, can't do that. Then maybe tunnels. I was trying to figure out something else because also I never needed a grand land too. So I was like, I did not want to take away more grassland from that. So, but hey, whatever.
In New York City, in
But people still say cars are all banned on one of.
Trial run of banning cars on some of the streets, buses actually had to slow down in order to meet schedules because the streets were so deserted of cars. Objection number 3. How will people get around without access?
I don't even know that's true. Hold on.
In New York City,
I've been there after this video's been posted. Oh, but can't be all of that. And New York and Manhattan. Oh, one road. I'm sorry. I was gonna say because
1 minute
you
banning cars on some of the streets.
This map is not exactly.
To slow down in order to meet schedule. How will people get around?
Yeah, when I took the bus one time, man, I was so annoyed because people were just being assholes to the bus and not letting people bus go through, slowing us down.
Without access to cars.
Michael, aged 8. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, all these nice cars we have here, electric. Yeah.
Number 4. Public transport is not as good as owning your own.
Yeah, and also I love the thing about adding something. I'm sorry, I just thought about it right now. Fuck Elon Musk. Very, very stupid plans for only rich people. I know that's how it's supposed to be, but like it's so fucking backwards thinking to me. He goes for trying to make electric cars for everybody to fucking making shit for not for like that Hyperloop shit or whatever the fuck it was, the tunnel. So dumb. And I don't know if those tweets that was real, but apparently I heard that he sent an email out to all his workers telling them to work even harder or whatever their demands were in med. So dumb.
Now, there are many reasons why somebody might feel better driving than taking the bus or the subway. One is speed and convenience.
Yeah.
Why wait for a bus that goes an indirect route, stopping periodically when you can just drive straight to where you want to go? For one, increased bus usage means that more frequent buses and increased routes to meet demand.
True.
So there's no issue there. Existing
roads, yeah.
infrastructure will adapt. Secondly, if everyone gets into one bus, there will be virtually no traffic and you'll just breeze around the city. You can also bypass the road entirely and use a bike lane. Some might claim
Hard for New York City.
is dirty and helps pass along
Because not enough people come with
coronavirus. While research shows people who use public transport are more at risk of catching respiratory illness, the same research also shows that areas with more frequent bus and subway services have lower rates of infection. Journeys are faster, more direct, and less crowded. Once again, removing cars will increase the frequency and size of public transport.
The car communities don't want. Car industry does not want that.
Another reason is the perceived cost. Buying a bus ticket twice a day every single day might seem like a lot. However, not when you look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, give them a
car in the UK costs on average £388 a month due to petrol, repairs, MOT costs and insurance premiums. And that doesn't even include parking costs. All the while, you can't...
There are only some stuff that I consider more now. Like right now... Okay, I'll be honest with you guys right now, right? I have one car, and I have a second car right now I'm working on because... This other car I have right now, I just want to keep for a long, long time and sell in the future, maybe. So I don't want to give too much miles on it, but I do have some trips I need to make. You know, excess of 500 miles and making it a decent amount of time. You know, I can't be spending days because that costs me too much money. So that is exactly why I'm putting a second car back on the road, even though I do not like it financially.
Travel while drunk or high, you're responsible for any accidents that happen behind the wheel, and you have to see traffic rules. Compare this to public transport users. In London, which has the highest public transportation cost in Europe, the average commute...
I wish more people would watch this. Like, why did not there's only almost 100,000 views, man? Like, actually sucks. So, I don't know.
Commuter only spends £150 per month on transport, much lower than the average driver, and on nights out they don't have to nominate some poor sod to be the designated driver. Objection number 5. Won't it hurt the economy? Somehow.
No.
This is a
everybody goes, resources go back to everything else.
Transport, much lower than the average now. This is a resounding no. For starters, the 4.5 million dead people that cars cause per year through accidents and air pollution don't contribute to any business other than the undertakers.
Yeah.
Barcelona banned cars on through roads in 2013. Businesses on these roads reported higher returns and receipts. Passers-by walked slower, enjoyed their time outside more, browsed in more shops, and bought more things. The value of these businesses also increased between 10 and 30%, simply by the fact people were walking near to them rather than driving past. Large open spaces also allow for pop-up stands to do business too. Food trucks, ice cream vans, street vendors, performing artists, merchandise stalls. That's got to be good for the economy. Taxi drivers out of work? We're going to be needing a lot more bus, tram and subway drivers anyway, that's for sure. And construction workers to convert the streets from road into public spaces. Car companies? All of them also have buses. Make no mistake, there are plenty
But
of business
I feel like they, well, I mean, they could switch over like that.
People on the
Depends.
streets, and the effect of pedestrianisation has on businesses are pretty good too. Clearly,
They make
evidence and
more
arguments
money though without. I mean, government contracts should pay good.
of removing cars from our cities. But how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hard process.
We must
now.
do everything in our power to
Okay.
make life a living hell for motorists. I hope you have a spare kidney because it's going to cost you £12 to drive your car inside the city limits.
Oh,
every
congestion
single day.
ones,
Also,
yeah.
Speed limits are capped at 10 kilometers per hour for personal vehicles. Have fun driving at a snail's pace, you fat moron. Want to park your car at a car park? Sorry, there's a price and a 50% sales tax. On street parking? Doesn't exist. We're also adding a ton of bikes and bus lanes, meaning car users are now...
Well, honestly, like I just told you before, I have these two cars. I'm not gonna buy another one. Probably, but I see in the future. I probably might need to buy one, maybe. Unfortunately.
Road. Public transport is now free and has a budget the size of the frigging moon. We're going to install a national belief that cycling is patriotic, and we're also going to...
Oh wait, are we going through like countries? Oh, okay. Oh.
It's going to cost you £12 to drive your car inside the city limits.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention.
Speed limits are capped at 10 kilometers per hour for personal vehicles. Have fun driving at a snail's pace, you fat moron. Want to park your car at a car park? Sorry, there's a price and a 50% sales tax. On street parking? Doesn't exist. We're also adding a ton of bikes and bus lanes, meaning car users are now second-class citizens on the road. Public transport is now free and has a budget the size of the frigging moon.
Not Estonian, why is it called Italian?
That cycling is patriotic, and we're also going to have rentable electric golf cars to get around the town. When more and more people ditch driving and make the move to public transport, we'll finally ban all cars from our cities and suburbs. Of course, people with disabilities will still be allowed to drive and park cars in the cities, as is the case in all places that have currently banned cars. For those in rural areas, go ahead and keep driving your cars, but be warned that we're also coming after motorways. Yes, I also want to touch briefly on getting rid of motorways, autobahns and highways too. Rail travel is less damaging for the environment, looks way nicer, is probably cheaper than paving over vast swathes of countryside with asphalt, lets you enjoy the stunning scenery, lets you read
But it's a monkey.
face to face on the way, has no traffic jams, and barely any noise or air pollution. In summary, cars are disgusting, and if you live
Yeah, sometimes, man, the world we came into. Especially when all this New York City right here. Just
City, you are morally obliged to use
looks like probably Upper Manhattan more. Or is it Brooklyn? Oh, it looks more like Manhattan.
Municipal psyche away from a culture of cars towards pedestrians and community transport, cities will start to become more enjoyable places to live and work instead of a soulless hub of tarmac. Removing obstacles to economic growth, social spaces, class mobility, and good health can't ever be a bad thing. Of course, getting rid of cars won't turn cities into utopias overnight, but it's a good start.
Let's get back to this one. Hey. Next time I'm making actual lists of what to watch through. I'm gonna be a little lazy today, but we'll see. You see. Our streets.
Word urban street. What kind of image comes into mind? Is it something
Gotta
like
go at 10.
this? No, not really. How about this? Yeah, this is more like it, right? 2 to 4 traffic lanes in the middle, 2 parking stripes, and then 2 sidewalks shoved under the buildings. This is a typical street in the developed world in the 21st century. But how come urban planning this radical could become so commonplace? Wait, what? Radical? Yes. What you see in front of you right now is the height of radicalism. It's a type of insanity that we just all kinda got used to over the years and never really stopped to consider its implications. It's also a recent development, yet we all treat it as if some eternal status quo. Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Let's do it this way. For you as a living, breathing human being, red is off limits, only green is for you. In an urban settlement built for human beings to live, you, as a human being, are banned from most of the public spaces. Think about that for a moment.
Almost even worse.
Inside your city, you are banned from using most public spaces.
Yeah.
And the only way you can use those
That's why, as a kid, we always lay down in the middle of the street, because why not? Oh, I muted.
Something very new. For as long as human settlements have existed, our streets used to be places of public congregation with additional transportation. Streets were places for us to socialize, to talk, walk, drink, eat, shop.
I mean, additional transportation didn't come until the trams, right? So, like, basically when late 1800s. Obviously, the train stations were just connections, so they weren't public.
In other words, to live our lives.
Yeah.
This was the case for thousands of years, until about 100 years ago, the early 20th century. At that point, cars started to
I'm confused. What did you just say?
100 years ago, our lives. This was the case for thousands of years, until 100 years ago.
800 years ago? Oh. Okay, am I being dumb? I don't know.
The early 20th century. At that point, cars started to become more and more accessible, although nowhere near...
Because that's not 80 years either, because 80 years is... I don't know what he was trying to say with that.
Level, the vast majority of people were not car owners, and they weren't going to be either. For a good while. Streets were for people. Until about 100 years ago, the early 20th. This was the case for thousands of years. Until about 100 years ago, the early 20th century.
Yeah, 1940s is considered.
Cars started to become more and
Yeah,
more
it's when it's really
accessible,
popular.
nowhere near.
I'm guessing you meant 80. Or I'm mishearing it.
People were not car owners, and they weren't going to be either for a good while. Streets were for people still, the vast majority of people. But then something happened. Something that was as ingenious as it was sinister. An instance of manufactured consent, so well executed it would put Jon Arbuckle's 1994 to shame. And the end
Oh
result...
my god, I think I saw internet, put it full screen. I don't want to do this.
Radical change, this fundamental shift which is contrary to human nature, and think nothing of it. How did this happen? Who was responsible? And what can we do to fix this mess? Let's find out after a brief word from today's
Meme stock traders to CC.
Epic.
It's
to find out after a even
The power plays. I'm sorry.
Cars began to appear on the streets in greater and greater numbers, and by virtue of being a new and expensive tech novelty, it was mostly wealthy people who owned them. And keep in mind that traffic rules, as we know, didn't exist yet. The way you drove was completely up to you. So we have a bunch of wealthy assholes in expensive and fast cars with no traffic rules driving onto pedestrian streets. And so predictably, there is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, y'all. You know what's crazy? Pennsylvania, I believe there's only 2 cars in the whole state, or whatever, there's 2 in the city, and they got into an accident. And I put the screen again.
Was a massive death toll, the result of a phenomenon which later came to be called joyriding. And believe it or not, the public was staunchly anti-car at this point. So car manufacturers had a big problem. Their cars were being portrayed as these murderous death machines, which were at this point, and the consequences of this bad PR was a threat to the automaker's bottom line. So what can they do? They can't really change people's minds at this point. The obvious and negative consequences of motorization were there for anyone to see.
Yeah.
That was when players of the auto industry came up with an idea that was just as insidious as it was genius and effective. Their targets became your grandparents or great-grandparents, depending on how old you are. At that point, they were school age still, and they started receiving a new type of education, courtesy of the auto industry and their endless benevolence. For the sake of their safety, children were taught to always look around before crossing the road, because they are the ones who have to stop for traffic and not the other way around. And that's because streets belong to cars, not people. And so entire generations of children grew up thinking this was the new norm. But in the meantime, the old generation was very much alive still, and they had some very different ideas about how streets should be used. And they put up quite the fight against the auto industry and drivers.
And they lost. Damn.
According to Peter Norton, the author of Fighting Traffic, The Dawn of the Motor Age in the American City, the tide turned against the majority in...
I should buy that book. You gotta support this more.
When citizens of Cincinnati organized a referendum aiming to put governors on cars limiting their speed to 25 miles per hour. And this was the point when players of the auto industry decided...
Oh, there's a cap on their speed. What? To defeat China? Okay, I think they're talking about the communist shit.
Decided to go all out.
Good thing Lecture failed.
And becomes a national precedent. It'll become... To quote from this Bloomberg article titled "The Invention of Jaywalk," would condemn men to involved.
Sorry, I read the whole thing. I'm sorry. I hope you guys read it too. Makes bands together to help fight the Cincinnati rule. According to Norton, it remained organized after that.
Cincinnati rule, according to Norton, and they remained organized after that, he says. The industry...
That's why they're so organized like that, huh? The industry lobbied to change the law and adoption of traffic statutes to supplement common law. That's designed to restrict pedestrian use of the street and get privacy to cars. The idea of jaywalking. Concept that not really existed prior to 1920 was enshrined in law. Thank God New York don't have that shit.
What really existed prior to 1920 was enshrined in law. And this is the reason why even today, our streets belong to cars and not people. All of it can be traced back to the auto industry, with corporations using their wealth and power to subvert the democratic will of the people. Even today, in the 21st...
Yeah, that's the problem about democratic will and everything with that government is the government of democracy, is that it can be manipulated. And always will be manipulated, and is manipulated.
Our streets are designed to serve corporate interest and not the people. For the sake of individualized transport and massive corporate profits, we are forced to endure all the negative consequences. The traffic hazard, the air pollution, the noise pollution, the loss of public...
I really want this to keep getting pushed. I mean, this is going to have 220,000 views, because these are... We need to keep pushing this because I believe we should start doing this. Obviously, people are going to have their own opinions. And they don't have to, and I don't believe we should force them, but sometimes better good is, I don't know. I'm sorry, I play devil's advocate with myself so many times. Because this is so much better for the greater good people, and I actually like it, but I don't want to force this down people's throats. But I do think at least giving people this information should help, you know, at least help more people understand. And at least people that don't really want to maybe might actually make a choice. So, we'll see.
And guess who's not suffering from them? And over here we have a picture of inner city Stuttgart, Germany. Stuttgart being the home of Daimler Group and Mercedes-Benz. Now, which one of these buildings do you think the Daimler leadership lives in? I mean, hey, this looks like the ideal place for a car company's leadership. There's like 14 traffic lanes, all very close to the buildings. Now, this might come as a shock for you, but they seem to prefer different areas of the city. And over here, we can see the Degerloch and Waldau areas of Stuttgart. In these places and the areas near them, your average size, nothing special single-family homes cost between $1 and $3 million. According to this local German newspaper, this is one of the most expensive areas of Stuttgart, offering its tenants calm and quiet and proximity to green areas and the city center. They also describe it as a practical Daimler enclave. But hey, if you also want to raise your children in an area free of the negative aspects of motorization, all you need to do is buy a house in Waldau. That would be $1.2 million.
Damn.
Please, if you're lucky. And this is the reason why I fundamentally oppose urban motorization. It produces this bizarre and harmful hierarchy, where the wealthy in our society can pay money for things such as clean air, calm and quiet, access to green areas, and streets on which their children can safely play. All these used to be the standard for most people in cities. Now they come with a 7-digit premium. But health, space, and environmental consequences are not the only ones we saw.
New York's a little different like that. It's actually cheaper to live out on an island, in my own opinion, than the city. Really think about it.
There is also a social aspect, also known as atomization. As I've mentioned before, streets used to be places of public congregation and socialization, right until cars took over. And it was COVID-19 that really highlighted this problem. As soon as we didn't have the restaurants, the bars, the clubs, the yoga classes, many people became completely isolated, with no opportunities to meet others. Before the era of motorization, you would have known people from the street, people living in your neighborhood, that is, because streets were places to hang out in, to stroll around, to do your thing, to have conversations with people, to socialize. But nowadays, with all the noise, the pollution, the crammed, narrow sidewalks, streets became this temporary unpleasantness that we have to trudge through to get to the nice places. And all because we gave our streets to cars. So what is the solution? How do we fix this mess? One word: superblocks. To date, superblocks are the most efficient ways of taking back our neighborhoods and making our streets fit for human habitation once again. The first superblock was established in Barcelona.
Oh, I see. It's cool.
And
there's a plazas inside.
It turned out to be a massive success. So much so that now they're being expanded. Here's how it works. You take an area delimited by 4 major roads, and inside that area, you pedestrianize every single street. Of course, residents' cars and essential services can still drive in, but the streets are arranged in a way that you cannot go through the area. That means you will only drive into the superblock if you really have business there. The philosophy of this design is that inside a superblock, cars are only guests. Living inside a superblock encourages a more active, healthier lifestyle, which reduces obesity, diabetes, and other similar health issues.
That's something to consider. I like it. New York hopefully keeps going the same way.
People also live longer and healthier lives because of the lack of noise and air pollution. With superblocks, a tremendous amount of public space is freed up again, providing people with much needed.
I like this. I also heard Spain has some other plans too. I believe the desert, I believe. Oh man, I gotta rewatch it again.
Reduces loneliness and thus increases mental health. Superblocks seem to be a great solution to all the problems brought about by mass motorization. So let's build more. Right now, Vienna is also joining this club with their first experimental superblock. Supergrätzel, which is great. In the meantime, Paris has been doing a ton of stuff already, banning through traffic from the center, pedestrianizing the promenades, the list goes on. Now, I think every major city should start doing this right now. Not only because it's a nice and beneficial thing to do, but also because pretty soon we'll have to do it, due to this thing called the oncoming climate catastrophe, where cities by 2050 will see a temperature increase of up to 8 degrees Celsius in their maximum temperature. Holy shit. And if this happens, which it really
New York is really warm.
all our big, black asphalt-covered streets will turn into frying pans.
Yep.
Imagine hearing that your dog got hit by a car, but upon running out to the street, only finding a piece of well-done steak. The only way cities will be able to combat this temperature increase, the only way our cities will remain livable, is through narrow streets with lots of shading, no black asphalt, and certainly no giant hunks of metal and plastic to absorb all the heat. So yeah, essentially climate-resistant superblocks, and better sooner than later. And this can be achieved by banning most motor traffic inside cities and giving back public spaces to the people. And wouldn't that be nice? To sum up, if you hate hierarchy and dying of complications from heat strokes, you should support transitioning away from individual motor traffic. traffic. And I know that for some of you this might have sounded a bit radical or harsh, but I'm sorry, we have no choice. Since apparently we kinda just gave up on stopping extreme climate change, the least we can do is prepare for the consequences. Right. At any rate.
And also, I mean, it would help for me, wouldn't it? Awful. Oh no, he knows. Yeah, who would have thought that? I mean, like you said, they learned that back then, and boom. Let's see. Oh, of course. I didn't realize that. I was actually watching a PragerU video. I kind of want to see a little bit.
I've come across this video by our friends over at PragerU entitled The War on Cars. Myself being European and a major advocate for public transit, this naturally piqued my interest. What does PragerU, a terminally American organization, have to say about car traffic?
There is a war against cars in America. Regulators want Americans out of cars and onto trains, buses, and bicycles. Why?
Oh, God. Fuck that PragerU, man. But that would actually be a very interesting one to watch. Oh, dun 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 dun. Kirby video, by the way. What's this?
It is surprising, but watch this.
Is this it? Is this a sphere turning inside out?
You bet. That wasn't easy to follow, was it? To figure out what's
War on everything, huh? The PragerU. Hold on, we got more views. Oh, well, it's 4 years. These are weak.
We may be.
Yeah, I'm gonna dislike it as well. Spontaneous. What does that even mean? Oh, wait, we're back to this one. Oh, yeah, I'm not going back to that for now. Streets are stolen. City by car is almost dead hindrance unless I'm hauling furniture. S-Bahn and U-Bahn are much faster. Cars are a low priority option of many. Our leisure utilities are fine. It's not respond reasonable to get rid of every piece of motorable parking spot in every car. See, that goal should be efficient, reducing traffic to only those who need to drive or use a car for the occasion and journey. By doing what has been proven to work, study by study. Promotion use NVR auto-centric infrastructure, finding parking as a hassle. Oh, that there parking. Yeah, sure. EMs mass really need cars in cities, and ideally those vehicles would be around the golf cart size. I imagine mostly drive from town to town on countryside roads and not city purposes. Have used your car in cramped crowded areas to help those who don't need to own cars, not own one, or makers divide their attention to make more easy stuff. Yeah, and also, maybe now if you're not driving in heavy traffic, maybe less people use their brakes and destroy their cars all the time, you know, by wear and tear, and you need new parts. Facts. The modern goals of technology, environment, science, general medicine, what feels like urban planning, civil engineering are critical. Yeah. Yeah, Dubai's fucked, man. Let's watch this, guys.
It's time for another edition of The World is More Interesting and Nuanced Than You Might Think. In biology classes, we're often taught that developing animals become one sex or another because of their chromosomes. Chromosomes are packages of genetic material, And
Love
usually,
that.
we're taught that female animals get their traits because they have 2 X chromosomes, and males get theirs from having 1 X and 1 Y. This is the system most mammals use, so many lessons don't go into more detail than that.
Okay.
And this XY thing is kind of implied to be universal. But really, there are all
It is.
kinds of other ways this can work. We're talking things like Z and W chromosomes, sex
Huh?
that develops based on temperature, and sex determination based on whether an egg is fertilized at all. Oh, and also, in the grand scheme of things, how sex is determined in different species isn't even stable. Now,
Yeah, I mean, I
take a step
know a lot of species are sex fluid in a way like that. You know, like, was it seahorses? I'm not going to say anything now. I don't want to speak out of misinformation. I just know some can change from male to female or back and forth.
For the purposes of this episode, we're defining females as animals that produce sex cells called eggs, and males as animals that produce
Yeah, because isn't there a female that does
definition.
has a penis or
What's
something?
going to be most helpful for understanding what's going on here. That said, these egg and sperm cells are collectively called gametes. Typically, they contain a half copy of the parent's genome, and they're all unique. So, when two gametes get together, the offspring's genome generally differs from both its parents and its siblings. One basic reason for this is that it makes a species more resilient. When you have genetic diversity, it also leads to individuals with different traits. As an environment changes, this variation helps some individuals adapt generation after generation. So this ensures that at least some of a group will survive long term. It took a lot of hits and misses before people figured out how sex determination works, though. In fact, before the early 20th century, there had been around 500
Or just
wrong
happened.
ideas about it. For instance, Aristotle thought male humans were a product of excess heat and dryness produced by the male during intercourse. Meanwhile, females were supposedly a product of excess cold and wetness from the female parent. Others thought that sex was determined by whether the embryo was on the right or the left side of the uterus, or which testicle the sperm came from. And ideas like this survived for thousands of years. But around the turn of the 20th century, a scientist named Nettie Stevens uncovered one of the first right answers. While doing research at Bryn Mawr College, Stevens began researching sex determination in insects. She was convinced that it had something to do with the genetic material in eggs and sperm cells. Partly, she was influenced by Mendel, another scientist who had shown how pea plants could pass traits to their offspring. But also, her ideas were
I don't know what I was going to say. I was gonna
the identification of chromosomes. Scientists had just figured out that these rod-shaped structures were the packages of genetic material responsible for carrying traits from a parent to a child. So, with these ideas in hand, plus plenty of her own research, Stevens published a breakthrough paper in 1905 on sex determination in various insects, including mealworms. While looking at mealworm sperm and eggs through her microscope, she saw
Yeah, they
that
did
the
that.
eggs all had 10 large chromosomes, but the sperm were different. Half of them had 10 large chromosomes, but the other half had 9 large chromosomes and 1 small one. Similarly,
That's the
cells
X,
from
yeah.
other parts of
In the
the
Y.
female mealworms had 20 large chromosomes, but cells from other parts of the males had 19 large ones and 1 small one. Ultimately, Stevens concluded that this small chromosome must have something to do with sex. And she was right. In fact, this small chromosome would later become known as the Y chromosome, one of the 2 sex chromosomes you might have learned about in
With
biology.
X and Y.
Since 1905, though, we've learned a lot more about just how variable sex determination actually is. The most talked about system is that XX and XY one, which humans,
Yeah.
most other mammals, and lots of insects use. Not all of these systems are identical. In fact, scientists think X's and Y's probably evolved independently in several species.
Oh.
But generally, in this case, a single egg carries 1 large sex chromosome, or an X, and a single sperm either carries a large sex chromosome or a small one, so an X or a Y. This means sperm cells determine an animal's sex. If an egg is fertilized with a sperm carrying
Okay,
a Y
yeah.
chromosome, the offspring will be XY and male. Again, using that very narrow definition of males make sperm. On the other hand, if an egg is fertilized with an X chromosome sperm, it will be XX and female. But also, this is nowhere near the only way this plays out. Like, the sex chromosomes of some birds and some reptiles work the opposite way. In their system, it's usually the egg that calls the shots. In these species, males have a pair of Z sex chromosomes. So their sperm all have one large Z. Meanwhile, females have one Z plus a smaller W sex chromosome, so eggs can have one or the other. Then there are animals that completely throw a wrench into this neat 2-chromosome system. One of them is the platypus, because, of course, on top of being semi-aquatic egg-laying mammals of action, platypus
Perry the platypus.
10 sex chromosomes, 10 X's for females, and 5 pairs of X's and Y's for males. When platypus sperm cells...
You see, I'm not gonna lie. Kinda crazy, you know, so you could see people's way they cut their nails. That was what I'm afraid of, man. Like that. Gonna be immortalized. I'm not saying this person cut their nails bad. I'm just saying.
The sex
I
chromosomes
feel.
form a chain. And although scientists don't quite know how this works yet, this results in...
I'm sorry, I felt very hypocritical. I'm worrying too much. I'm over-explaining myself.
that either carries 5 X's or 5 Y's. Overall, though, platypuses are at least similar to other mammals. Once you move into other branches of the tree of life, things get wilder, like mammals.
That's what form the sex chromosomes from a chain.
Overall, though, branches of the tree of life, things get wilder. Like in some animals that reproduce sexually, there are no obvious sex chromosomes at all. Instead, sex is triggered by some environmental factor that determines which genes are turned on and what body parts develop. The most common is temperature-dependent sex determination, which occurs in reptiles like alligators, sea turtles, and some fish. For instance, in studies of the European pond turtle, incubating eggs at temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius produces all females, while temperatures below 25 degrees Celsius makes all.
So the opposite of what they used to think back in the old days. I believe that was Roman people as Roman, or it's just Roman people. It's kind of funny because they did have a point, but it's the opposite way.
And in between, you get an equal ratio of...
I mean, talk about being wet and whatever. Whatever.
In other cases, some birds seem to determine their sex based on resources available to their parents, like the nutritional content of their food. And some invertebrates, like certain worms and snails, determine their sex based on proximity to some environmental factor. For example, some female marine worms release their larvae into the surrounding water. If the larvae land on the ocean floor, they develop into females. But they can also re-enter the parent's body, where they turn into males and produce sperm and mate with the same female they emerged from. So, there are plenty of ways this can play out. And of course, there are animals that throw all of these ideas straight out the window too. As a
Wait. You're gonna need to run it back to me. So you're just telling me that they're all incested because you're telling me the only time it becomes a male, it comes out, goes back into the parent, then grabs whatever it needs to turn into just DNA in there, and then turns to a male, and then
factor. For example, some female marine worms release their larvae into the surrounding water. If the larvae land on the ocean floor, they develop into females. But they can also re-enter the parent
okay.
body.
No. This is we're not leaving like this. We have to notice. Okay, I don't know how to spell it. Hello. Oh, right there. That's very sexually undifferentiated. Alright, metamorphosis dwarf males that live inside the female and exposed to females. Virgin females will develop absence. What? Special explicit visual based model we examined how the specific form of environmental sex determination affects dynamics of boneless populations, investigates the selective finish of ESD over the widespread Phenotype, sex determination, population dynamics, ability appear to seem random, simple, and not too sensitive to parameter changes around their measured values or to changes in distribution and size of habitable patches. Starting even from low sizes, populations can soon attain fertile room densities. Explored aspects of population dynamics indicate an advantage of ESD over GSD. Moreover, simulated invisibility, invasibility experiments show that while the maternal inheritance scenario allows for fixation of GSD under some limited conditions, both the classical and proportional inheritance scenarios always lead to fixation of ESD in the population. It also showed that the only ability of ESD larvae to adapt their ultimate sex, both in competitive competition for empty burrows and for mating within females, the competitive edge over non-adaptive responses to feminizing and or masculated signals, currently leads to fixation of ESD by small step evolution. The types of Carnot and bull thus needs to be refined in the sense that along with females forming unpredictable resources for males, empty burrows are unpredictable resource for females. But how is their DNA diversified? All the males have to go back to the females releasing that DNA. I don't know. Unless, like, the way it works is that it basically ends up where those females don't exactly have the same DNA anyway that they release, so another male body, let's see for it doesn't have meters, gravel, driven by external factors. Okay, I guess if the last resort they do that, I guess.
Release their larvae into the surrounding water. If the larvae land on the ocean floor, where they turn into males and produce sperm and mate with the same female they emerged from. Yeah. So there are plenty of ways this can play out. And of course, there are animals that throw all of these ideas straight out the window too. As a final example, more than 200,000 species of ants, bees, and wasps use a sex determination system called haplodiploidy. In this system, females can lay unfertilized eggs that, all on their own, develop into males. But if the female chooses to mate with a male, then the extra genetic material from her partner means the fertilized eggs develop into females. And the list just goes on from there. You could talk all day on this kind of thing. But really, it all follows one basic theme. In the end, you get one kind of animal that makes eggs and another kind that makes sperm. But here's the real kicker. Whatever system a species settles on, that system isn't permanent. Instead, over long periods of time, researchers think that what system a species uses, and whether it uses sex chromosomes at all, is temporary. Like in a 2017 paper in Genetics, researchers describe a type of frog that lives in Japan. In northern Japan, these frogs have a ZW system, and in the south, they have an XY system. According to their mathematical modeling, the authors suggest that these transitions just happened by chance as these populations diverged into different areas. Other studies have suggested that in some species, there can even be an intermediate period as a species switches from XY to ZW or vice versa, where sex is determined by the environment, like with those turtles. So not only are there more than just X and Y chromosomes, the whole concept of sex determination is an evolving thing, even for individual species. When they're studying this, one way scientists can try to learn how long a species has been using a particular system is by looking at the small sex chromosomes, so the Y or W for species that have them. The current thinking is that these small chromosomes have degraded over many, many generations. See, these small chromosomes carry what's called a master sex determining gene, which is as important as it sounds. This gene controls reproductive traits. Like in humans, the process of developing these traits is regulated by a gene on the Y chromosome called SRY. Small chromosomes might have picked up genes like this through some kind of mutation or mutations. But however it happened, the thinking is that when a chromosome picks up a master sex determining gene, something changes. Either a region of these chromosomes or the whole thing king stopped recombining during meiosis. Meiosis is the process that makes eggs and sperm. In it, a cell duplicates all of its chromosomes, then pairs of chromosomes line up and exchange genetic material or recombine. So the thinking is that at least part of structures like the Y chromosome just stopped recombining for some reason. That would have led the chromosomes to lose bits and pieces and erode.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's it for now. I gotta go.